Hi everyone, this is Nicole Struthers. I'm going to cover a lymphoma workup with you today. So we have a lymph node that was received fresh, and on the requisition it says unknown lymphoproliferative disorder. So we're going to work up the specimen as a lymphoma. So let's get started. So the first thing we'll do is we'll document how we received the specimen. So this was received fresh, and in order for a lymphoma workup to be completed, the specimen does have to be received fresh. The ancillary test for a lymphoma workup cannot be completed if the specimen has been in formalin. So once we've documented that, we will measure the specimen in 3D. So we have a 2.7 by 2.3 by 1.3 centimeter tan pink nodular possible lymph node. So I described my outer surface. What we'll be looking for is if there's any puckering, if there's attached adipose tissue, so on and so forth. So after we've taken our measurements, we can serially section the specimen. So if you were worried about a infectious process for this specimen, you would want to do all of these steps with aseptic technique and take a section of the lymph node for cultures. You can read through the patient's chart and determine if cultures are something that would be appropriate. If they've been taken already, you can work with your attending, but we're not going to be taking a chunk for micro for lab. So we'll serially section our lymph node. So to start out a lymphoma protocol, the first thing you're going to do is make a touch prep and smear slide. So we're going to take a section from the middle, and in order to create our touch prep, all we'll have to do is take the segment that we just took and we will touch it to the slide, and I will usually do that at least 2 or 3 times. So now we have our touch prep. So this will air dry, and then we will stain that with a diff quick stain. In order to do a smear, we can take that same piece, kind of scrape along with our scalpel in order to get a little fluid on there. And once we do that, we'll take our smear slide, take an additional slide, and then we'll make a smear like that. So those smear slides can be stained as well, and they will air dry. So once we've stained our slides, then we can review with our pathologist and determine what we want to do moving forward. So if we see Reed-Sternberg cells, then we know that we have a Hodgkin lymphoma. Those are pathognomonic cells for specifically Hodgkin lymphoma. So doing additional ancillary tests would not be necessary at that point. However, if you don't see Reed-Sternberg cells, but there are many, many lymphocytes, then it may be a non-Hodgkin lymphoma. So at that point, what we would do is take a section for RPMI, which is the solution that we would use for flow cytometry. We're going to take a piece and put it in RPMI with antibodies, and that would be used for DNA analysis. Then we'll take a piece and put it in this container for snap freeze, and that would be for IHC or DNA analysis. We also want to put a section of the tissue in a solution called B5. I don't have anything to share as an example today, but one of your sections you'll put in B5, and that is a solution that's going to highlight the nuclear morphology. So all of these pieces that are going for special studies don't come back. So we need to make sure that we document in our dictation what we sent. So we'll say that we submitted a portion in RPMI for flow cytometry, RPMI with antibodies for cytogenetics, and then a segment in snap freeze for IHC analysis. You can also use glutaraldehyde for electron microscopy, but that's pretty unusual and it's a very expensive test, so it's not generally ordered unless they're not sure what's going on. So then the piece that I made my touch prep with, I'll put in B5, and then my remaining segments I'm going to submit entirely. So your cassette summary in your dictation is going to say A1 is a portion of lymph node submitted in B5, and then A2 through A4 is remaining lymph node commissarially sectioned. And that's pretty much it. So if you needed to take a piece for micro, you would do that at the beginning while everything is as clean as possible. Otherwise, that's pretty much it for lymphoma workup. So you'll do this in lab. Let me know if you have any questions.